有非常多的感觉，比如说，如果你很开心，二胡的声音可以当很开心。还有呢，如果你非常伤心，二胡的声音也可以当很伤心。所以呢，我就是觉得二胡的声音是人的声音。我小时候非常喜欢拉小提琴，然后呢，我差不多16岁的时候开始学二胡。那时候我参加了一个比赛，当 CCTV 第一个美国二胡演奏。完了以后，我差不多每一个夏天回上海，在上海音乐学院学二胡。还有呢，我在大学，我的专业是民族音乐学，也是因为我很喜欢学二胡。现在呢，我希望我的音乐可以让人理解各种各样的音乐，还有呢，可以帮人理解世界上的文化。So the erhu actually has its origins in Mongolia and came to China about 1,000 years ago. And the erhu's name actually refers to its origins and its construction because er in Chinese means two, and the erhu has two strings, as you can see here. And the hu refers to the body of the erhu because it's a part of the huqin family. I'm Allison, and I play the erhu.
Hello, welcome again to LITTalks. We are so excited for our 4th episode of LITTalks. It's unbelievable, amazing. This has had so many people that messaged us. This week I had somebody that wasn't with us for around 4 years already. And they told me that they tuned in to LITTalks and they love it. So it's unbelievable the reach that the online platforms really have, and we are so fortunate to be able to use these platforms in order to spread light, spread wisdom, spread some love of the people that we know that are involved in our community, that are part of our community, because Aishlit is also about understanding that everybody has something to share. Everybody has some power, some energy, some wisdom, some goodness to share, and we are so happy for this week. Who do we have here, Shira?
Well, we, as some of them may have seen, we have Allison Hernandez. We're gonna bring her up right now. Hey, Allison.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
We're doing good. It's such a pleasure and awesome opportunity to have you here, with us on LITTalks.
Shira, how was that video?
Okay, this video was amazing. Obviously, I didn't understand a word at the beginning. But it's so incredible to hear you speak in Chinese. Like, I've never heard you speak so fluent. So it was a great chance to see that and perform in the erhu, if I'm saying it right.
Yes.
So beautiful. And just in general, bringing you on the show and having the, having you being part of the Aishlit fam for the past 2 years, right?
Yeah.
It's been an amazing, it's been amazing 2 years so far, and we're super excited to share.
Was it 2 years, you said? Yeah?
Yeah, it's been 2 years. Thank you so much for having me here, first of all.
Yes.
I think it's so amazing to have this series of LITTalks and still find a way to be connected while it's so easy to become disconnected. But yeah, it's been 2 years now since I've been part of the Aishlit fam. It's crazy how time flies. And I became involved in Aishlit when I went to the Great Gatsby party, which was
right.
Really?
Now I'm connecting the pieces. That's true. I totally forgot. Yes, that was this time 2 years ago.
2 years
Yeah.
ago. Yeah, summer.
Yes,
Yeah.
the Gatsby party, you know.
We took all those events for granted. You know, the fact that we can have people around in our house just walking in
I know,
freely.
right? We kind of forgot what it was like.
Oh yeah. Well, one day, hopefully very soon. But yeah, I had a fantastic
Amen.
time. Met amazing people who today are like family, truly. And from that time on, I just kept coming back for Shabbats and events like Taco Tuesday and Wine Wisdom Wednesday. And I think it was just so important for me as a young professional graduating from college, looking for a community to be part of. Where there was consistency. I think it's easy to just go to Shabbat or go to someone's house once in a while, but it was hard to find that like every single week community that you could belong to and make really deep connections with. And of course, have amazing mentors like Rabbi Jack and Shira to learn from.
Oh, thank you.
And even now, virtually, we're still connecting. So it shows how important this community is for young professionals in LA, and even now virtually in more places than LA. So
Honestly, it's important for us too, for our sanity. Like the fact that we can be there for people and constantly do all these things, it's great for us. Like we really keeps us in, you know, sane. I was about to say insane,
exactly.
but it keeps us sane, you know. It's
Especially that we both are not, you know, coming from the US. Our families are really, really, really far away. So really the community that we build is our family.
100%.
And that's what we feel. That's what our kids feel. It's mutual.
Exactly.
100%.
Yeah. So Allison, I mean, we all know you have like some kind of like an international story. You've been places, and you have a lot to share. You have also inspiring things to share, I know, tonight. So I'll let you take it away and inspire us and the audience that are watching and will watch later. So we'll let you, go with it.
Perfect. So today, well, when Shira first asked me what I wanted to share today, I wasn't exactly sure. But one idea kept resurfacing, and it's an idea that I've been reflecting on a lot here in quarantine. And I think it's true for so many of us when we have this interesting time to reflect more on our purpose in life, and this time to really reflect on life's meaning. So today I really wanted to talk about the idea of where do we find our value and our self-worth and our purpose in life? How do we define ourselves? And to answer this question, I think it's important for all of us to reflect on our own unique journeys and our stories. And I wanted to take this opportunity to share a little bit about my story, and specifically about my Jewish journey. So
amazing. We're so excited to hear this. We're excited for everyone else are watching.
Yeah, I hope it's inspiring. So when I was 17, I had walked into a synagogue for the very first time. While I was raised knowing that I was Jewish, and I was raised very culturally Jewish, I hadn't really understood what my Jewish identity meant, and I really hadn't found a Jewish community growing up here in Orange County. And after this experience, walking into the synagogue and feeling this generational presence, and really wanting to know more about my Jewish identity, I made it a priority to become more involved in Jewish life in college. And I did that when I went to college at UCLA. And there I really made some of my closest friends, lifelong friends, and I felt home in a Jewish community for the very first time in my life. And I began surrounding myself with supportive and kind and loving friends who shared my values. And it was also in college when I had the chance to go to Israel for the very first time.
Nice.
What kind of trip was that? What kind of experience in Israel was that?
So this trip was with Jewish Awareness Movement at UCLA, and it took us to seminary at Neve Yerushalayim, for those of you who have also gone, who are listening right now. It's an amazing place. And in Israel, I'll never forget the very first lecture that I attended.
Okay, I hear the sirens in the background.
The sirens in the back. The joys of doing podcasts from home, right?
Yep.
I'll give it a minute.
That's natural.
That's what we're all about. We're all about just being natural. So it's perfect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's an important part of the story, so it was appropriate. So I went to Israel for the very first time, and when I was in Israel, I'll never forget the very first lecture that I attended. And the professor stood in the room and asked us a simple question: who are you? And how do you define yourself? When you're asked to introduce yourself, what do you normally say? You probably say, hi, my name is Allison. I go to this school, I have this job, I live here. But what if you moved away? What if you changed your job, changed your school, even changed your name? Would you still be you? And I thought about it, and in that moment, I didn't really have an answer, but I did find some clues in keeping Shabbat that week in Israel.
Wow.
And I'm sure Rabbi Jack can elaborate more on Shabbat. But for me, the idea behind Shabbat and what I found that week was it was a chance to take a break from the world. A day where you rest and you take a break from the 9-to-5 hustle of every single day, and you take your focus off of the materialism that we surround ourselves with every day. And for this one day, we stop buying, we stop chasing, we stop working, we shut off our electronics, our phones, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. I know it sounds crazy.
It's funny. It's funny you just said TikTok, because that never existed like a week ago, but somehow that's now around. I wonder what's next. You
never know.
We'll see.
They keep surprising us.
And exactly, on Shabbat, we take a day to turn off what we normally distract ourselves with, and we disconnect so that we can connect. And I guess the question is, what do we connect to? Connect to what exactly? And I think Shabbat gives us a chance to connect to ourselves, to our spirituality, to who we really are. And I'm sure all of you who have had the pleasure of going to Ashlit for Shabbat can remember, and hopefully someday soon,
that was loud and resounding amen coming out of our mouths.
Exactly. Baruch Hashem. But thinking of those times when you share a home-cooked Shabbat meal and you pass around the challah, even if now you have to do that with gloves, and sharing stories and laughing until 2 a.m., or reading that book that you haven't had time to get to all week, or even just going outside on a walk and actually feeling the sunshine. All those little tiny joys of Shabbat. And I think that once we remove the layers of externality, all the things that we normally define ourselves by, we realize who we really are. And it's the idea that you are valuable just by being you, by being yourself. And I think once you know that, and once you feel that you are valuable, completely separate from your external accomplishments, you can really authentically connect to others who are also valuable just by being who they are. And in this way, you can finally really give to others and share with others.
Wow.
Yes. It's so relevant today, because everything's about identity politics. It's, what are you? And what job do you have? And what...
All these things define you.
And they define you. And I always tell people, that's not who you are. That's a thing you do.
Yeah. Or the thing you have.
What identity do you have? In every aspect of life, that question is thrown, and I stand, or it's my way, or whatever it is that people are saying. It's always about what they have, and it's not about who they really are. And if I look at each human and I say, you are a living soul, then all our differences are just irrelevant, because at the end of the day, I'm looking at an neshama, I'm looking at a soul, a chelek elokim mimad is how we say in Hebrew, a part of God. And I see the core. And that's what Shabbat does. All the stuff that we identify ourselves with too much isn't really who we are. And it just kind of falls apart. And then we're like, oh, so who really am I? And some people can't really face themselves. They find it hard. But that's the aim of Shabbat, is to really face that self and embrace it and it can definitely solve many problems.
Right. No, I mean, it's so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing
Thank
that
you.
part.
No, that was beautiful. Thank you for elaborating.
Yeah.
That's exactly.
Right. I'll jump into, obviously, I know you have a lot of experiences, a lot of parts to share. What I would love to jump to is the China part. Where is that falling into the story? Why? How? Would you like to tell everyone? Because it's obviously not something that we say,
100%.
Yeah, I'd love to share. It's a question that I get a lot. So I guess a fun fact about me is that I have been studying in China off and on for the past 9 or 10 years. And I play, as you've seen in the beginning of this talk, I play the erhu, which is a Chinese instrument, most similar.
You have one with you?
I actually do. I can show it.
Would you like to show it to everyone?
Sure,
like
yeah.
real time?
Yeah. So this is what it looks like.
Unbelievable.
And while I won't play it right now, I do have a YouTube and I do have an Instagram, so you can hear it there if you are curious.
Or go to the beginning of this LITTalks and you'll find it.
Or that. Watch the recording. So when I was 16, I won an international talent competition and I was featured on Chinese national television. And after that, I just kept studying and performing because I loved it. And it's always been my true belief that the art and music have a very unique power to inspire and connect.
Wow, that's really super cool how you got to do that. So you said you've been going to China, you were going on and off for the past 9 years.
Mm-hmm.
When was your last time, and what did you do there then, and how did you decide to come back? What did you do there? What was the impact of living there?
So after graduating from UCLA, I moved to Shanghai as part of a postgraduate music, arts, and museum program. And this time, when I was there, I really made it a priority to become involved in the Jewish community in Shanghai, which, yes, it does exist.
For all those who are planning to travel at some point, we don't know what's going to be anyway, but there is a Jewish community there.
And it's Chabad probably, so God
bless them. Chabad is everywhere.
God bless them.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's a Chabad, there's a Moishi house, there's this own young adult community. It's crazy. There's a lot of Jews in Shanghai.
Sure, come on, let's go. Why don't we go next? We should go to Shanghai next.
Nuh-uh.
Come on, we did Oregon, we did LA, we've done England, Israel.
Well, flights are going to be cheap, so you never know.
Let's wait for the world to calm down.
Exactly. Smart. So this time when I went, I was very involved in the Jewish community there. I did Shabbat there, and I made some really close relationships. And I still learned about my Jewish identity and went to Jewish classes. And that was super important to me to have that support system when I was so far from home. But one story that I want to share is that it was so interesting. This one time, I've been going to this school for 7 years. It's the Shanghai Conservatory of Music. And this one day, I was walking to school, and I saw a plaque on the International Students Building, and it showed that it was actually built by Russian Jewish refugees who had escaped from Eastern Europe and went to Shanghai in World War II when the Nazis took over. And I became extremely interested in how these Holocaust survivors and these refugees found the strength to start all over again, leaving behind their past lives and go to a foreign country with a language they didn't understand. And despite leaving behind everything they knew, their homes, possessions, changing their careers and their jobs, they still found a way to contribute to the world around them. In Shanghai, they were still rabbis and scholars and scientists and artists and musicians and professors, and they all left a lasting legacy on Shanghai. And that was something that I really felt honored to discover while I was living there and studying there in Shanghai. And I made it my mission to learn more about the Shanghai Jewish refugee experience. And when I was in Shanghai, I had a very unique opportunity to play Jewish music there. I had a duet with an Israeli musician, and we played the theme song from the Holocaust film Schindler's List. And we discussed Israel and Judaism and the Holocaust with the audience.
Wow. And the audience was necessarily Jewish or just anyone?
I mean, it was anyone, but it was in China, so it was predominantly not Jewish. So it was a very unique opportunity to share this story with people who might not have otherwise heard it. And it was through music, which again has the power to connect without language.
So are Jewish people well known in Shanghai, or like it's a foreign culture?
Religion. I mean, it's kind of a mix. It depends on where you go, but in Shanghai specifically, there's such a rich history of the Shanghai Jewish refugee experience. There's a museum dedicated to it. There's still, Rosh Hashanah services, Yom Kippur services. So I would say the general knowledge is there, but we still have to do our part to share what we know about this history.
Of course. I mean, that's incredible. You really have part in educating just the world, something that none of us even have the opportunity to do, and reach such far places and educate them through music, which is really beautiful.
Yes.
Wow.
They say that, Shira's name is song, so this is a good one for me. Music is shir, is shira, is music. And the word shir is also the word yashar, which means to go straight. And the reason for that is because music goes straight, penetrates straight deep within to the heart, deeper parts of your heart, your soul. It's not something that needs a translation. It could be, it's a universal language. Music is a language for all. Exactly. You could be speaking Chinese. That part I didn't understand, but the music part I understood very well. And it was something that was emotional and touching. And that's really the beauty about song and music. It's something which penetrates to the heart, to the soul very quickly without any thought process or translation that's needed.
Or the obstacles of like different languages or backgrounds or just, you feel it. It's something to do with the feelings. That's beautiful. Wow. So what happened after that? Well, I mean, you were there for how long? How long were you there? I guess the last time.
Yeah, I was there for about a year and a half. And to answer your question, coming back from Shanghai and also after college and coming back to LA after being abroad for so long, I was really looking for a Jewish community to spend Shabbats with and really connect to. And I luckily, again, as I mentioned, I found Ashlit 2 years ago, and almost immediately, for real, it felt like home. We have, again, weekly hangouts and learning and amazing Shabbats. It is my sincere wish that after this quarantine, every one of you listening can experience a Shabbat with Rabbi Jack and Shira. It's incredible.
That'll be fun. Yeah, no, that's really amazing. What about the studies? Have you so once you got back and you obviously you also got involved Jewishly, what did you do then? Did you go back to school? Are you working?
Yeah, so after I finished that program, I decided to go to USC and finish my master's degree, which is in museum and curatorial studies. And I'm currently interning at the Los Angeles Museum of the Holocaust in the archival department. And I was really inspired by my time in Shanghai learning about the Jewish refugee experience and the Holocaust history to continue doing my own research and my own thesis on that.
That's amazing. So you even get the chance. I mean, I'm assuming working for the museum, or maybe I'm just assuming, but do you get to hear Holocaust survivors, like stories and things that really add up to what you, I guess, started learning while you were in Shanghai?
Yeah, they do. The museum has a weekly Holocaust survivor lecture, which has Holocaust survivors speak about their experiences to an audience, which now takes place on Zoom.
This is live?
Live on Zoom every Thursday. Whoever's interested, it's every Thursday at 11.
Really? I can come on?
Yeah, anyone can, as long as you have the Zoom link.
Which is new about this.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's amazing. 11 a.m.?
Yeah, every Thursday.
Every Thursday.
I heard one today.
Wow.
But yeah, so I feel very lucky and fortunate to be able to hear from these Holocaust survivors every single week. And also, as part of our internship, we get to read books by Holocaust survivors.
Wow.
And yeah, it's really an incredible experience to learn about the history from the source.
Right. I
From
mean,
the
it's something
source.
that a lot of, a lot of the people don't have access necessarily to get to know or get to hear the source and the Holocaust survivors, and they're all getting older now. So it's really important to hear the stories from the original source and hopefully, internalizing and passing on.
It comes from
Exactly.
their heart. Their experiences are not just a story that someone's telling, it's coming from their heart. So we really feel that when you hear a story from a survivor, it's a story that really penetrates. So
Right. Wow,
Exactly.
that was incredible. Sorry, were you saying something?
No, I mean, exactly what you said is so true. And it really does make me think back to the very first lecture that I attended in Israel 6 years ago, when the professor asked us, "Who are you? And what if you lost everything and you had to change your name and everything about yourself externally? Would you still be you?" And
right.
learning about the Holocaust, I think about the Holocaust survivors who were forced to do just that. They had to move out of their homes, leave behind all their possessions, and they were stripped of everything they had: their jewelry, shoes, clothing, hair. Even their names were replaced with a tattooed number. And
Wow.
yet,
It's
despite all
true.
these horrific things and losing everything they had, they were still human. They were still who they were. They were intrinsically the same, while everything about them externally had changed.
It's
Um,
so true because they were fighting the external. They never, the Nazis, they never were fighting the soul that they can't take away from us. They
mhm,
could take away our homes, our money, but they could never take away who we really were, our identity. And actually, it strengthens our identity. We get clarity. That's what I always say is that when people try and hurt us, when anti-Semites try and come out and hurt us, the exact opposite of what they're trying to do actually happens. They're trying to separate us or make us feel that we don't want to be a part, but actually our identity comes stronger.
And people unite, and then you see a lot of beautiful
100%.
things when things like that happen.
So, did you at some point plan on? Because I remember you were telling me that you were planning to go back to Shanghai at some point. Um, was
yeah, I mean, hopefully one day. Again, we live in a crazy time, so
Yeah.
it's hard to say for sure. But I do hope that one day I can go back. Definitely.
Right. Wow. Also, something I think you mentioned about, now that you're working in the museum, you got a chance to read a really interesting piece, or it's a book. Would you like to share with us
Yeah.
what you learned from it?
Yeah, so there's a book that is part of our internship, and this book is incredible. It's by Viktor Frankl, who himself was a Holocaust survivor, and it's titled Man's Search for Meaning. And in it, he quotes Nietzsche, and he says something so powerful: "Anyone with a why can survive almost anyhow." And his
Yes.
life was a testament to this idea. He believed and witnessed through his own experiences that those who maintained their sense of hope throughout the Holocaust, and those who rose above their unimaginably horrific circumstances, had one of two things in common. So, one, they still wanted to share their love for someone else, whether it was their parents, their children, their friends, their family. They wanted to share the love they had with someone else. Or number two, they had an idea they wanted to share with the world. They had something they felt they could only themselves contribute to the world. And after they got out, they still wanted to share that. And I think this idea is so beautiful, and I really find it so Jewish at its core. this idea of self-transcendence and the ability to move and rise above yourself, beyond yourself, your fears, your worries, your ego, your insecurities, and really focus on those around you and love those around you, or share your unique ideas or gifts with the world. That will help you get through the inevitable ups and downs of life. And he also says something that's, again, so powerful, that it's not what life expects, or it's not what we expect from life, but it's what life expects from us.
Beautiful. So, yeah, I mean, Viktor Frankl's statement on the concept of having a hope, something to hope for, is what really was the key to person's survival, is so relevant to the time that we're in right now. We're now coming into the time of Tisha B'Av and the 9th of Av, which, by the way, we're going to have a live show all day next week on Thursday. But the concept of Tisha B'Av is we hope also that the Jewish people have a hope, that we hope of this utopian future that the Jewish people have, which is of Mashiach, and where we can all be united as one, and we can be connected to our spiritual core and have a deeper understanding of what we really are, and that the world will have a better understanding. There will be peace in the world. There's this utopian hope for the Jewish people, and it's something that we meant to believe in, and it's something that kept us going all along through our past. So it's actually one of our main things that we need to believe in, is this concept of Mashiach, which means to save, and that in the future we will have that hope that will come back and bring the world into this place where it's better and we're closer and we're more connected and we feel a deeper connection. And I find that sense of hope is a comfort for us as a people. It's an amazing thing, and that's why even the saddest day in Jewish history, which is the 9th of Av, where so many sad things happened, all coincidentally on that same day, but for some reason we feel this sense of hope because it has a picture for the future. And that's what kept the Jewish people going for thousands of years through all what we've been through, is that sense, that deeper belief in the future, for that bigger picture, that utopia that hopefully will come. So that's a philosophy that's in Judaism. It's a strong philosophy that we believe in, and it's beautiful.
It's so beautiful. And the idea that she's sharing, and it's so nice to see that you found that Jewish kind of like belief and core in all these experiences that you've had.
Yeah.
And what do you think, though, the answer to this idea, to this beautiful idea that you just mentioned?
Yeah, it's a big question, thinking about who are we, removed of all the things that we define ourselves by, our outward appearances, our accomplishments, and even our Instagram profiles. And for me, again, I think that I found that answer in Shabbat, and the beauty of Shabbat, when we can't define ourselves by our material possessions. And I think that learning from these Holocaust survivors who had to change everything about themselves, even their names, and they still were who they were, I think we can find that answer, that no matter what, we are who we are, and each of us are unique souls and human beings who are intrinsically valuable just by being who we are.
That is so beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow.
That is actually.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, what were you saying? Sorry.
Yeah.
No, I just wanted to add on to what Rabbi Jack was sharing, that I think it's especially useful in this time because we're forced to stop living in the world that we're so accustomed to. We can't go outside and go shopping and go to a restaurant and distract ourselves from ourselves. We have to confront our personal meaning for life and hopefully contribute to the world around us and love those who are around us, especially in quarantine when we're forced to be with the same people all the time. And to realize, and to realize that we all are intrinsically valuable, and this value we can share with the world just by being who we are, and that we're all here for a very unique reason, and each person can contribute their own gift to the world and by doing so, help improve the world around us.
Wow.
That's so beautiful. I mean, I have nothing to add to that. You really
That's it. I'm done.
nailed
That's
it.
Unbelievable.
It was so inspiring and thoughtful and wow. Oh, and I see
We
some
have a
comments,
whole
right?
load of comments here.
Oh, I didn't even realize we have comments going along.
So,
We're gonna put them on the screen, are we? Before we
Sarit.
wrap up.
Hi, Sarit.
Hi,
I don't know what she's saying.
Sarit. Well, Allison could probably relate. Understand.
Hi,
And
Candice.
of course. Who else is there?
And Allison. I like that. That's a good one.
Wow, Monica, what a good one.
That was a very good one. Allison.
Yes.
Uh,
Molly.
oh,
Yes,
Molly.
Allison.
Love it.
Look how much love
have a
there
lot
is
of
in there.
fun.
Lots
Yeah.
of fans. So great,
Rabbi
Chazak.
Tambaski, yeah.
This is a rabbi in the local community here.
Yes.
So nice of him.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's beautiful.
That is deep. It definitely is. It definitely is. And the words you said was really amazing. And here's the rabbi from
From
Jam.
Jam that I went to Israel with.
Yeah.
Rabbi
Rabbi
Charlie
Hampton.
Hampton. So,
Whoa, go Allison. Here you go. You know. You have lots and lots here. Who else is here?
here
That's
we
such
go.
a beautiful way to wrap up the evening with everyone's
Yeah, can't shut TikTok off if you don't have one. That's true. It's just off automatically. I love that. And here's Liat
Liat,
sharing
thank you
her
for the
love.
love.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's beautiful. Here they added something about
this
what
is
you were
about the
saying.
story in Shanghai. Is the Mir Yeshiva that moved literally during the Holocaust to Shanghai.
That's how they were saved.
And they were saved.
whole-
They all managed to get their way to a huge amount of people. I don't know exactly how many,
Right.
but the generations that came after that are immense, hundreds of thousands of people. It's amazing. And Ellie's here, the most cultured person I'm blessed enough to know. It's so true. So
Baruch
cultured.
Hashem, BH.
Baruch Hashem.
Ellie is the ultimate hype woman. If you ever need someone to hype you up, Ellie's your person.
You're awesome. That's amazing. Is there anything else down there?
Yeah, Fayan. It's probably
US.
about
What she was talking
about what you were saying.
Yeah.
Monica, the ultimate hype woman, is here. Thank you. Of course, you're talking about Shira as well.
Oh, of course.
Is on the spot right now. She's it.
David said, yes, Tikkun Olam. And it starts with fixing your own self, right? Tikkun Olam is my world first. Fix your own world. That's really the concept that we stand up here at Aish Lit in teaching. It's so important.
And that way we can inspire the world, and the world changes based on our behavior and how
That's
our
really how you
approach and
change.
the way we
That is our motto.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
And Sarit, so beautiful and inspiring, Allison. Well, that really was so beautiful and inspiring. We are so glad to have you here with us.
It was a real honor and pleasure. And
great story.
It's nice, right? It's so, I keep saying that and I'm repetitive, but it's just super nice to be able to, we connect to so many people and they become part of the family. And it's so nice to share their stories out there, what they've been through, what they've learned, how they got involved, what it, changed or impacted their life. So it really is inspiring for me. When I hear it again and again and again from different people, it's just like, wow, this is amazing. I mean, we better keep doing what we're doing.
We have to.
There's no way out.
So true.
So yeah, we'll wrap up tonight.
Yes, that was amazing. That was beautiful. It was deep. What I came out from this the most was how we really, like, all the things that we have and do are not really who we are.
Mm-hmm.
And the core of who we are deep inside, that's what we need to plug into. And when we do, everything else, all the stupidities fall apart. And that was really the most powerful message that you shared. And it's so true and so important today with all that's going on and the arguments that's going on politically, not politically. I'm just it's just so refreshing, remembering always that you are a soul, and that's who you are. It doesn't matter.
And I respect you for being you, and and that's it. We don't have to. I've heard
Agree or disagree,
I've
or
heard once someone, I don't remember who said that, but we need to stop focusing on what divides us and then stop focusing on what unites us, because there's so much as human beings. So I love that. And I'll also add that what I found also really inspiring from what she said is the idea of Shabbat, obviously, that
of course,
we're so
yes.
passionate about, and seeing and hearing how relevant it is to many people, no matter what background they are, and what level they are, and they do it in their own way. But it's a way to disconnect, to connect your inner self, to connect to the people, the close people around you.
And I was saying, we were saying how like sometimes that's hard. It's not easy to face your real self and suddenly not be busy with other stuff. When you're busy with other stuff, you're distracted from the real self.
Exactly.
You've got the music and the running around, and then there's the selfies, and there's the social media, and it thinks, yes, all that stuff distracts us from facing ourselves, and sometimes it's not so easy to face ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's the challenge of Shabbat. But what you get in return is to recognize who you are, to see yourself in the mirror.
Yeah.
So that's a beautiful thing to get in return. So, of course, that was amazing. And thank you so much for being here, being with us.
Yes, thank you. It's a beautiful way to, it's Thursday night, always Thursdays. So it's a beautiful, beautiful way to Shabbat with Allison's inspiration.
We've got the smell. We have the smell of the challah in the background.
Same here.
Yeah. Your speech.
The best part of the week.
That's amazing. I'm very proud. I mean, if I may mention, every time when Allison, we talk, and then I see, sometimes I get to see her challahs that she makes. It's just awesome. Every time it looks more glorious, glamorous than the other.
Amazing. You don't send me
Shira. Watch Shira's challah tutorial. It will change your life and change the way you make challah forever, for the better. I've made such good challah afterwards, and I owe it to Shira 100%. So thank you.
I agree. My life has changed forever, for sure.
It's challah. Challah has a beautiful thing, no matter who makes it, but it's something special.
It really is.
So yeah, happy Thursday, everyone. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom to you, Allison, as well. And thank you again. We've said that, and we're going to say it again, and we cannot wait to see you in person.
Thank you, Candice. You emanate such positivity.
Yeah.
Allison, you really do. So
yeah, definitely does. We will definitely, we're looking forward to seeing all of you together again, celebrating again, reuniting again, with positive experiences. Have a wonderful Shabbat.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, so much.